All right. Today we're going to work on the leaves in the back, still the pads, lily pads in the back, and we'll come from back to front. So we have here titanium white, phthalo blue, raw umber or burnt umber, and sap green. And I'm using round brush. There we go. This is an 8x10, so the brush is not that big, but you're welcome to use any brush you like. So if you see on your, in here, in the back, some of the burnt umber that we had at the beginning, if you see some of it showing through, it's okay. You don't have to cover it. It's fine. It's a nice detail.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's take some of the phthalo blue, and the phthalo blue could be any phthalo blue. It doesn't have to be a specific one. Like it doesn't have to. It could be red shade or green shade. And take a bit of white, put it in. So phthalo blue, raw umber, white. Don't put too much white. So mid-tone. And you want to see more of the blue, so it's not really brown, meaning that you don't put too much raw umber. Raw umber is there to break the chroma of phthalo blue, meaning break the intensity of the phthalo blue. And we're going to go in the back here, put another layer. And you'll see in a minute, we will start adding some green as well.
It should pretty well be the same color as we were using before.
Pardon?
It should be pretty well the same color that we just used like in the previous background.
Last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but yes. If it's close to the color that we used last week, that'd be great, yeah. Now, there's another one right here. Okay. Also, when you put raw umber with the phthalo blue, it makes the color looks more natural. It kind of gives it a nice earthy tone. Okay. Now, let me take some of the sap green. My brush still has some blue and raw umber in it. And I'm just pulling some sap green now with a bit of white. A little bit more white in the sap green here. The sap green has a bit of blue in it with raw umber. I'm going to tone it down with some of the blue, phthalo blue and raw umber. Let's go back to raw umber. That's too much sap green in there. There. That's better.
Sorry, was that green just added to the other color?
So sap green. Yeah, sap.
Yeah, I just added to the blue mixture.
Sorry, what's the question?
You just added that to the, mixed it in with the blue mixture.
Yeah, the one here. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sap green and the blue mixture together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. And then I'm gonna put some of the sap green mixed with the blue mixture over here as well. So you see, we're starting to see a little bit more sap green in here, in the front ones. In the back, we didn't use any sap green, but in the front ones, we are using some sap green. I'm going to do one more detail and then I'll stop. I'm just going to take raw umber and phthalo blue, and I'm going to put a shadow underneath this. Soften my shadow a bit, meaning I'm adding a little bit of I want a dark shadow in here still, but I don't want it to be too dark, because I'll show you why. There is a softness of transition of shadow. Usually it doesn't shadow is very strong close to the object, but the further away you go from the object, the softer the shadow is going to be. So you see here, it's really dark right there. So this is phthalo blue and raw umber. But when I come to this part, just kind of to transition this dark, strong dark in there to a lighter color, you could add a tiny bit of this mixture that you have here, which is phthalo blue, raw umber, and white, and maybe a bit of whatever you have here, maybe a bit of sap. It doesn't matter, as long as it's not this one here. As long as it's not that dark phthalo blue and raw umber pure. This one has a little bit of darker blue. So that will give it a really nice transition from dark, strong dark to lighter dark. Also on this side right here, where I'm putting a color right here, this part here that you see, the dark, that is the shadow of this petal right here. So this petal right here is casting a shadow on this part. Also that one here is going to be casting a shadow, this one here. So I'm going to take again, and then after this I will stop. I'll pause. I will take again phthalo blue, raw umber, and I'm just going to test. If it's dark enough, I can see it, that's good. If not, if I can't see it, then I'll make it darker, but it's perfect. I can see it. There. We're good. I'm going to pause. All right, let's start working on this one and this pad right there in the back. Again, the same. In here, we're going to use phthalo, raw umber, A little bit of white. White will show us the color if it's leaning more towards blue or brown. So it doesn't have to be anything right now, because it's just what we're working on is just the leaf. And by the way, there is something in the back there, and that might be a bit confusing because I removed it in the reference. You don't see it in the reference, and it's a dark shadow right here. This dark thing here, right here. I removed this because usually I remove anything I don't understand. If I can't tell what it is, I can't paint it. I'm sure it's just leaves, but still. So I'm putting kind of a mid-tone right now. It's going to dry darker. Okay, I'm going to add a tiny bit of more white in that same mixture. And I'm going to come here and highlight the back a little bit more. Leaving the top part, I'm going to darken the top part a bit right there. This part here, I'm going to darken it a bit. That's because the pad itself, the leaf, turns in on the edge. That's the edge, and the edge is turning in, so you see a shadow of that. Now, I'm going to highlight this part also a little bit more right here. And because I don't want to see flat, these surfaces are flat, both of them. I'm going to take a little bit of the dark color, which is phthalo blue, a little bit of raw umber. I'm not cleaning my brush. I just want to soften this harsh color in between, especially the edge there. That's better. There. All right, now I'm going to darken a little bit. Again, going back to titanium, no, not titanium, I'm sorry. Burnt umber and phthalo blue, and do this line. since I have this deep dark color, which is that titanium. I keep saying titanium. I think it's coffee time. Phthalo blue and raw umber. I'm going to put it here, right there. Anywhere else? Yes, right here. And I'm going to have a little bit of white now, again, in that blue. Same thing I did before. I'm going to do this. This is a little bit higher than, I mean, in the reference, all of this part goes like this. Okay. I'm going to pause, make coffee, and come back. Gives you time. Okay. Now, I mixed phthalo blue and raw umber, and I'm going to take this color and put some of it here on this one here, this lily pad in the background. This one has a strong shadow, and just go like this. Also, I'm going to take some of the same color and just kind of create a movement here, and you'll see why in a minute. It's just kind of a, if you look at the reference, you'll see that this is shadows of leaves on a green leaf. You can see it in the reference. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but when I get into this part, I'm curving my brush stroke. It's not straight, it's curved down. So imagine that this is going to come to this point. Those lines are going to meet here. So let's do this. All right, that's good. Now, underneath this lily pad, or lily, on the pad, there is a dark shadow. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to take raw umber and phthalo blue, and I'm going to come here. Push it out a bit here like that. And then we can always soften all of this if we need to. If we feel like it's too strong, we can always soften it. Once we start playing around with the other colors, painting the other colors around. There we go. Okay. Now, I clean my brush. And I'm going to take Sap Green, a little bit of this blue that I have, the mixture that I have here. I'm going to add white to the Sap Green mixed with blue. Not too much white. I'm softening a bit those harsh lines that I had before by adding a some of the highlighted green in there, in between. You know, it's like the sun or the light is peeking through. All right. Do you want me to stop a bit?
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, no problem. All right, so now we have this dark part right there. And what I'm going to do now is soften this darkness by using same Phthalo Blue, Raw Umber, and Sap Green, and kind of work on a darker version of the colors. So it's kind of, it's there, it's in the shadow area, but it's not a blob of dark, right? So here we go. We did a good job preparing the background for this, but it shouldn't be just dark. And so the same is for this one here. It is a shadow, but the shadow is not a block. The shadow is the same color, but darker. So if it's green, it is green, but darker green. That's it. There we go. But we needed that dark.
Did you add white?
No white. So The same goes for the bottom of this leaf. It's overlapping right there, right here, and also right, yeah, right here. That's dark. So this is dark. So this leaf overlaps with another leaf that's on the bottom. Now I'm going to take some white, put it in the green. My brush still has some of this blue and raw umber, but I'm going to add some more green and white. And let's give this kind of give it a bit of this is at the edge of the canvas, so we don't need to have a lot of detail in there. And also I'm going to go down here and get some more blue. Again, my brush is, I'm not cleaning my brush. Whatever I have on it, I'm adding blue to it, some white. It gives me a really nice, beautiful green, blue-green. And I'm going to come here. This corner. Okay. Perfect. All right. I'm going to pause. All right. We're going to paint this part right there. So these leaves, the shapes that you see here are the shapes of the reflected leaves from on top from here in the water. So this is water right there.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take phthalo blue. I'm going to put a tiny bit of raw umber in it, just tiny, and then bring in some white. Let's put some water. Yeah, that's good. It's a nice color. It's a beautiful color. And let's paint around the leaves. Or another way is to actually paint the whole thing white and put the reflection if we want. Not white, I mean blue. That's another way. But if you have them already drawn, the leaves, just kind of paint around them. It looks funny, don't they?
Yes, they do look funny.
Okay, let's paint white, the whole thing. Because
And
not bother with this.
they look sweet.
Right? That's easier.
They look like they'd be a lot of work.
Yes, and there's no need.
I can't figure out the shape of them, so I'm happy to do this.
Right. Let's do that. There we go.
You don't add anything.
Yeah, just keep it like that. There's no need. There we go.
That was quick and easy. The easiest part. The easiest leaf I've ever done.
Yes.
Me too.
And let's take some dark blue, which is a mixture of both raw umber and phthalo blue. And give this area here. Because it's still wet, it will blend in softly. Excellent. Okay. Right. this big leaf here, right here, is green. So this is an easy one. We'll go first with a bit of, we'll take some Sap Green. I'm going to put some raw umber in my Sap Green just to make it more earthy, a little bit earthy. And then I'm going to come here and put some Sap Green here. And now let's take a bit of yellow at this point. Cadmium yellow light or cadmium yellow medium, but light is better, and add it to the same mixture of Sap Green and raw umber. This is still wet, so it's good because I can kind of soften the edge between the light and dark, because part of it is a little bit darker in here, in the back, right there. And then it's highlighted over on this side. Again, I'm adding a little bit more yellow to the green that has a tiny bit of raw umber, and that's perfect. There. Underneath this big one here, there's a dark color, so I'm going to take Sap Green and raw umber and make the Sap Green dark. I'm going to put this dark shadow in here. I might need a little bit more, yeah, a tiny bit more of darks in there, here. There. So this is a mixture of phthalo blue and raw umber. Okay. Excellent. All right, that's good. It's good for this week. All right, we're done for this week. We did quite a bit. of leaves and pads in the back. And next week we'll work on the major big one here, this pad right there, and then we'll start the flowers.